Now, do you think there's any way of preventing that kind of behaviour, people cheating? How can you spot a cheat? I spoke to Martin Stewart, who has written a book about why men really cheat. And joining me now is Olivia, who is a private investigator and investigates people's relationships when they suspect that cheating may be going on. Hello, Olivia.
Hi there.
Right then, Olivia. So, people come to you when they think that their other halves are up to no good.
Yeah, that's correct.
What sort of things make them suspect it? What are the first signs?
Getting more protective over their phones, not, being away from the home more frequently, little lies coming about that they get discovered for, they said they were in one place and they actually turned out to be in a completely different place. That kind of stuff generally brings it about.
Mm. And then what do? This is where you come in. So the people have got their suspicions. They come to you. Where do you take it from there?
Well, we're basically the next step. Somebody comes to us with I wouldn't say it's a suspicion, because when people come to us, they generally already know it's happening and they want proof.
Right.
Very, very rarely it's been, life-shattering information, because generally they already know. And they just want proof, to move on with their lives, whether it be to work through their problems or whether it be to, get a divorce. But then obviously we arrange for surveillance on the person generally, and that's how we get involved, getting them evidence as such.
Is it easy?
Every case is different. It really, really varies. For example, it might be somebody that drives like a complete and utter maniac, so it's a bit more difficult to follow somebody around. But then you've also got things, like people just meeting other people for dinner and going to hotels at lunchtime and things like that. So.
Now, I think that, it is often the case, though, through talking to people, and I know some of the messages and people that we've talked to in the past, that people have their suspicions and they want to know the truth. They may know, they may suspect and they may really know, but they want concrete evidence in order to either A, move on from it, B, do something about it, or, finally kind of like accept it. Because when you are with somebody like that, they will deny and deny and deny and deny and deny, and then you feel like you're going mad because all of this is going on, but they're like, no, you're mad, nothing like this is happening, of course I'm not doing this, of course I'm not doing that. So do you think that you can, when you can clarify that actually this is going on and you can confirm it, that is almost closure for that person?
Definitely. I think about kind of, it takes a lot for somebody to accept closure sometimes, which is often can be the problem, that they don't, they need, some people get scared of confronting their other half, especially if it's out of character for the person. Going back to the book that was written, Martin Stewart, I personally disagree with his belief that somebody's born a cheater. I think, and also, the idea that men are far more likely to cheat than females. Working in the business where we essentially follow people around, that's not the case at all.
Really?
In fact, there's just as many women as there are males.
Has that risen over the years, or has it always been that way?
It tends to always be that way, basically. If you're not happy, you're going to... It could be that you'll cheat, regardless of whether you're male or female. Obviously, the way males and females go about things are a bit different. But, there's differences in how their behaviour, whether it's more of a fling or a long-term thing. But it's that both as bad as each other.
You must have seen, though, because, we're talking about this in a fairly light-hearted way, but realistically, you must have seen the devastation that this causes.
Yeah, absolutely. It causes a lot of families to break down, and it's a sad thing. It's obviously one of the areas that we get involved in, which is the less pleasant side of things, because obviously, you're only ever going to deliver bad news. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that if you don't catch them, once somebody's got the idea in their head, they'll just continue trying to get the information, which may actually drive a wedge between the couple anyway, even if that whatever they think's going on isn't going on.
And have you ever had a situation like that where somebody is convinced that the other's having an affair and it turned out to be absolutely innocent?
I mean, we've had many occasions where we haven't actually managed to get anything. They've acted completely normally and not done anything untoward. Obviously, with our line of work, we don't know the ending. We don't know the final story of what happens in the relationship. We do our work. I think when I initially started working with the company, I found it very hard to sit back and say, well, what I was always asking, what happened next? What happened next? What did she divorce him or whatever? But you just have to accept that you're not going to find out that kind of information, unfortunately. And that's something you'd have to ask the individuals that we've worked for.
Is it expensive to hire somebody like you to go out and do this kind of work for, people that do suspect their other halves are cheating?
It can become expensive. Obviously, in this kind of field, it's obviously private clients that we're dealing with, so everything is out of their own pocket. So obviously, we try to be as financially careful as we can, especially if they're just looking for proof which is going to upset them. We charge on an hourly rate, and we can kind of set it with the client as to how many hours we'll do, and we'll provide a full report and things like that as well.
And this is going to be the telling question: is business booming?
Yes, I would say so.
Oh, you see, on the one hand, I'm pleased for you that it is, but on the other hand, I'm sad for everybody who you're currently investigating, or rather their other halves, that this is the case. But so you don't think that men are made like this? You think that basically, I mean, you don't have to cheat. Just because it's like when you've eaten a big meal, if the dessert's put in front of you, you don't have to eat that. It's up to you if you make that choice, if you're tempted by it. So if you're going to be tempted and you're going to give in, it's down to your willpower, surely.
Well, yeah, I think, to be honest, it all boils down to happiness in the relationship, and if if it's stable, if there aren't any problems. Obviously, there are some situations where if somebody's got away with it in a previous relationship, they may think they can get away with it in the next relationship, kind of have their cake and eat it kind of scenario. And I think that is only a small minority of people, but unfortunately that does happen. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I think I do agree with that statement. But I mean, with males and females, like I said, it tends to be both. It's not one or the other.
I'm looking at the texts that are coming through at the minute, and we've got people admitting it from both sides. So hopefully we'll talk to some of those people in a bit and find out exactly why they did it. But listen, interesting talking to you, Olivia. Thanks very much for coming on today. Thanks for your time.
No worries.
Right then, maybe we've got somebody that's used the services listening of a private investigator.